May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, preserving the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths crossed his, and anything else that comes to mind. I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable, free from economic hardship, and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the limitations of the universal precept of do as little harm as possible. Today we have a return guest, Jeff Broadbent. He's going to talk about Gretchen Taihaku, priest. A priest was her family name. We've heard a lot from Jeff before in his podcast, and he did talk some about his marriage to Taihaku, who was Gretchen then. And but like Jeff, she is somebody whose paths crossed with Shunryu Suzuki, in that Suzuki married them, performed the marriage ceremony for them, and Jeff thinks it might be the last one he did before he died. And she was a much-loved priest who founded a Shao, Shan, a temple in Vermont. And here I'm going to read the announcement of her death that came from the temple. Dear Sangha and friends, it is with great sadness that I report that our dearly beloved teacher and abbot, Reverend Taihaku, passed away early this morning, May 24th, 2021, unexpectedly in the night of a heart attack. She often said that death is like jumping into a ginger ale pool. Her joyful effervescence extended even beyond this life. Final arrangements are determined in conjunction with her family and the Soto Zen order. May we together support her vision for Shao Shan Temple to be a flowering of the Dharma for the next 700 years. With immense gratitude for her life teachings and the founding of Shao Shan Temple in the Dharma Kanzen. Reverend Taihaku Seirin, priest, trained at Hokkyoji in Japan and received Dharma transmission from Tanaka Shinkai. So we're going to give Jeff Broadbent a call and ask him a little bit about Gretchen Taihaku, priest. But first, our pause to meditate. So if you ever mind, hit pause, meditate or whatever for as long as you wish. And when you're through, hit unpause, and we'll give Jeff a call. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
So what's happening?
Well, just retired 6 days ago.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that, and just about the same time, I had the unfortunate experience of attending the funeral of Taihaku, of Gretchen,
Oh,
my
yeah.
ex-wife, who had started the temple in Vermont, and so that temple's going along pretty well, though. So she would be happy if she accomplished her life goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, well, Gretchen, as her original name was quite amazing, and she came with me to Japan. We got married in '71, and then we met up with
You got married in 71 by whom?
by Suzuki Roshi.
What
Yeah,
what month? What month?
The last marriage ceremony that he performed.
In August?
It was I think it was in June.
June. Uh-huh. In the city.
In the city center, yeah.
Yeah. But she was never a student of his, right?
No, she didn't know anything about Buddhism. She had been in the woods in an ashram for 7 years as a devotee of an Indian yogic teacher,
Wow.
practicing their form of meditation.
Wow.
A little bit like transcendental meditation, with a mantra and inner concentration on the light and sound.
Mm-hmm.
Very traditional yogic meditation style, going way back to what is it, Patanjali?
Mm.
The ancient yogic sutras of India. Yeah, that style of meditation. And so she came then with me and to Japan. Roshi had suggested I go to Japan and study with his brother monk, Hakusan Roshi.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was majoring in Buddhist studies at Berkeley, and got a scholarship to spend a year studying the language in Japan. And so took her along and went there, and in the process we visited Hakusan Roshi's little temple out in Shizuoka Prefecture. And he named her Taihaku, which means the morning star, which in Buddhist Japanese means the star that Shakyamuni Buddha saw after he came out of privations and sat for 7 days, and the morning star became enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
And so Hakusan Roshi gave her the name Taihaku. He liked her vibrant, spirit. And but then I sent her off to an Obaku sect nunnery, so I could practice with Hakusan Roshi. And so we did that for
You
about
sent
3
her
months.
off. It sounds like she didn't know where she was going. Just put it, yeah, go here. Was she interested in doing it?
Well, she was okay with it. Yeah, she was interested in what was going on there, and she learned a lot. She learned that she didn't want to be a Buddhist nun. That's what she learned, which came in handy later.
Where'd she go?
Because,
Where'd she go?
Well, it was a nunnery in Kyoto, run by the Obaku sect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
I forget the name of it, though.
Yeah. Okay. Different
But that
from
was way
where
back in-
Joyce went and Morton, Sally Block Morton.
Oh, well, I don't know where they went, but
They went to
This one was,
Yoshida's place. You remember Yoshida?
no.
We called her Yoshida Roshi. She was teaching everybody how to sew.
Oh,
She's the first one who came over. Katagiri had some time with her. I think she came in 70 and was teaching people how to sew rakusus and, for the first lay ordination and ocases, those who were becoming priests and got all that started. And later, when Richard Baker was there, Joshin came. And we called Yoshida Roshi and Joshin San. Anyway, all right, go on. So she was there. How did she end up? Then where did she go Zen-wise? Because she continued.
Well, it's a long story, and because after practicing with Hakusan Roshi, I got I sort of rejected the whole thing for a while, and we went to India and studied with her master in 1972, and then eventually came back to the States, and various things, happened, and we ended up getting divorced in 1990, but we had this land in Vermont that we'd acquired, and a beautiful little place there, and so after we got divorced, she had been very impressed by Hakusan Roshi, and we met his student, Tanaka Shinkai, Docho-san, as we call him.
Yeah.
And so Docho-san had become the teaching Roshi at, what's it called now? Is it Hokyokuji, or the temple that's sort of in the mountains behind Eiheiji?
Oh, I don't know. And who?
That's the very strict teaching.
But you were talking about a teacher, somebody's son.
Yeah, and
who?
Tanaka Shinkai.
Yeah, but you used another name.
Well, we called him Docho-san.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Docho just means the abbot of a place.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Right.
So that's what everybody called him, but his real name was Tanaka Shinkai.
Yeah.
And so she had started studying with him, and then after we got divorced, he invited her to come and practice at this hard practice temple, monastery, somewhat back in the mountains behind Eiheiji. And so she went there, and at first he said, well, you're a woman, why don't we send you to a Buddhist nunnery? And she said, no way.
Good for her, yeah.
So she insisted on practicing with the monks, and she practiced there for about 3 years. And I
want to make a comment here. I remember once Richard Baker said, American women are like men to them anyway, compared to Japanese women.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, go on.
So she toughed it out there, and she related then at one point that Jakuin Zenji, who was the successor to Dogen Zenji, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was his temple, that deeper temple in the mountains. And they went to his grave and one time, and she had this kind of mystical vision of dancing light all around the temple. And she started dancing in joy and was dancing all around the temple, and evidently the monks couldn't figure out what to make of it. But she had this very kind of joyful enlightenment experience that just stuck with her ever since. And then she came back and founded the Shao Shan Temple.
All right, question.
Which means,
did she get any sort of transmission or anything before she came back?
Yeah, she became a designated teacher under Tanaka Shinkai.
Yeah, all right.
Receiving his transmission. And
he had a very good reputation. I'd heard of him,
yeah, okay.
And some other Westerners studied with him, right? Yeah. And
right.
And Taigen wrote a thing when Gretchen, what's her Buddhist name again? Taihaku?
Yeah.
When she died, Taigen wrote a little thing because I posted it, on What's New, about her, and very briefly, and then wrote about Tanaka Shinkai. And Taigen was in Japan like when I was in the. I think he was there in the early 1990s. And he said when he said he sat sashimi with him, and he said he had just become abbot when he went to sit with him. Now, so she started the temple in Vermont. What's it called?
Shao Shan.
That's very interesting. Is she the only person who studied Zen in Japan and then came back and named a temple with Chinese pronunciation?
Maybe. The reason was when we bought the land together, we had I gave it the fanciful name of Shaoshan, which means musical mountain. But that's because that was the place where Mao Zedong was born. And in 1976, when we bought the land, I was still kind of an admirer of Mao Zedong.
Wow. You did it. Oh, far out, man. And now, what a great story. The name of that temple, temple's named basically in honor of Mao. That's great.
Well, when Tanaka Shinkai came and formally and helped inaugurate the temple with Gretchen, he changed the characters. So it's no longer named in honor of Mao. It's now called it's a different Shao. It stands for realization instead of musical.
What's the Japanese like onyomi on it?
I don't know. I've always called it Shao.
Maybe it's Shou. There's a zillion of them.
Yeah, right.
There's many that are Shou and many that are Shou. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the one that's the most, I think, is Ko, and Ko, like 150.
Right.
And people say, "Oh, what does Ko mean?"
Yeah, they could never go.
Right. And then when did she found the temple, and what year?
Well, she started the temple back in around 1997 after coming back from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And then
maybe she was over in Japan when I was. What year did she go?
I'm not sure the exact year.
How many years? All right, about how many years was she in Japan?
I think it was roughly from 93 to 96 or something. Practicing at that. At that temple.
Wow, she came back. She was in this nunnery. That was like in the 70s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What happened in the 20 years between her going back and her coming to America?
In the 20 years, well, that's the whole story of us being married and having children and.
Oh God! The way you told it, it was like we came back and got divorced.
Well, there's a whole lot of history there, but you wanted to hear Gretchen's story, so I was trying to tell that.
I see. Well, I see. I mean, you told, we had a very long podcast in which you told your story, I don't know, a couple of months ago or something. That was great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
it's terrific. Yeah, you're very interesting. Well, I really appreciate that. Do you have any, so she started that in 97, and do you have anything to say about the development of it or anything while she was there before we move on?
Oh, well, I mean, she's an incredibly intense and willful, strong-willed person, and she just determined this is what she's going to do, and somehow she got the funds together to actually, and she's an incredible artist, so she designed this beautiful little temple, if you see pictures of it, in Japanese style.
Oh, yeah. It looks very traditional, quite beautiful.
Yeah, and she got it built there on a piece of the land that we had, and she gradually started holding sitting and teaching and bringing together a sangha there. And then she attracted some people who started to stay there for longer periods, particularly the monk named Kenzan, who's taking over now. And he must have come around 2000 or something, around the year 2000 or 2010, I don't know, somewhere. And then in 2013, she finally had the formal inauguration. Well, the temple became registered with the Soto Zen sector, I guess maybe around 2010 or 2000, maybe the year 2000 even. I'm not sure when. But she was made, the abbot and went through the formal ceremony, and Tanaka Shinkai came there with a number of monks, and they held a long session, and then in 2013, and she became the abbot of Shao Shanji. Then in 2013.
And she just stayed there from then till her recent death, just teaching. And did she have any side job or anything like that?
She was president of the Soto Zen Buddhist Association of America for 6 years.
For 6 years?
I think so.
Wow.
2 terms.
Wow. That's when
Taigen
said he knew her from that. Yeah, because he's involved with all that.
And so she managed to make a go of it there without holding side jobs. And I'm not quite sure how she did it, but she had Social Security coming in. Otherwise,
she had Social Security coming in. What sort of profession did she have? Job did she have to make payments to Social Security?
Well, she got it because I was employed, so she got it.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Even after you become divorced, you can get it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I wish I'd gotten more, paid more. I didn't get. I was slave labor for Zen Center in the early days, but I might have gotten a little Social Security later on because of them, but not much. Yeah, basically.
So you didn't. You weren't paying into it.
No. I get $270 a month and spend $105 of it on Medicare B, which I can't use because I live out of the country. But it's not a good idea to give it up.
No.
So anyway, well, that's great. That's really nice to hear about her. Can you read your poem you wrote for her?
Yeah, which one? I wrote 2.
Well, would you read both poems you wrote for her?
Sure, if you'd like me to. I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
I was very much, moved, and despite being divorced for 30 years, I still, heart to heart, a deep connection,
Yeah.
And so trying to express that feeling, I wrote a couple of poems. The first one is called. Well, the first one is you have to understand that she was a child of Massachusetts coast, Atlantic coast, with her ancestors going right back to the Mayflower. And on her father's side, her name was Priest, and there was a Diggory priest on the Mayflower, and she grew up, with her own little sailing boat, and was just sailing around the coast and into the Atlantic, and that sort of nurtured her fierce, independent spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a poem called Returning Home. Such a fierce force of nature, Atlantic nor'easter, blowing over the Cape, Marblehead, laughing gulls soaring on gales that brought the pilgrims' determination to this land, carried their fierce-willed child, sailing beyond sight of land in her little shell, knowing heart guiding her back with tales of great gray whales seen at sea. And then I wrote a second poem, thinking about the sadness of missing her, but placing it in context. It's called We the Living. We the living celebrate all ancestors past, and celebrate we, who in due time will be ancestors, celebrated by the future living, who in their time will pass and be celebrated by their future living. So even now, we celebrate the future ancestors. So precious in our now, each moment, a dewdrop on a flower, evaporating in the sun. We celebrate our ancestor moments and our future moments in our present dewdrop world. This infinitesimal moment, so quick it cannot be known, echoes into time and space beyond knowing.
Good. And you read very well.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff Broadbent, for sharing that with us. And thank you very much, Gretchen Taihaku Priest, for the gift of your life. And gyate gyate, haragate, harasam gyate bodhisvaha. This has been a Cuke Audio podcast. I'm D.C. Puba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from Sleepy Sanur with Dogge Bandita, Feline Kuchita, and dear lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.